Let's put a little music on, shall we? Hi. Still waiting. It's okay. Mm. Okay. Let's see if we could do it here. Anybody there? Not yet. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Definitely have to sit this way. Mm. Mm. Hi. I always love saying who the first one is. It's probably a client of mine. Hello. I do my best to try to show up earlier these days for y'all. Welcome. Let me just try to make this clear. I don't know why it's like this. This is... Okay. The most important thing is that I get this information out to you. All right. We'll just wait. We'll just wait. Okay. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Hi. Maybe everybody assumed I'd be a few minutes late. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just start talking anyway about today's topic because it's very, very important. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you, love. Good to see you. I suspect that today's live is going to hit a few bullets with you, and I'm going to release a vid right after this as well. This topic that we're talking about, a lot of women may feel a sort of way once they hear everything that I'm saying. And there might be a little anger recognition because when you don't know that you've been under someone's thumb, and when I say someone's thumb, I don't mean per someone's actual control thumb. I mean your energy in your body has been under a thumbprint, control of an initial father that was there, but handled you in a certain way, regardless of the fact that it was the only way that they knew. I think it's very, very important to outline what that may have cost us women. Why a lot of us women may be struggling to identify what a toxic man even looks like. There's no blame here. There's no blame about father. There's no blame about anything. It's just certain people do certain things with what they have going on at the time. And when they do these certain things, what's amiss is nobody can put their finger on what it is that they did, but everybody can put their finger on the problem of today's world with how a lot of women are. And so this channel, as a Heyoka empath, I talk about what is unseen, but very well known in terms of its effects. But you see, the effects can't change if you can't even pinpoint. And a lot of you women who will be in a distorted energy with a weak father, and it's surprising to a lot of people because a weak father is not a father who is physically weak. Although if he had something he was going on, that could be like that, but that's not what I'm talking about. Any man that is physically weak is a highly strong emotional man that is in no control of his emotions. There's a couple of other things that actually go with that. When a man is not in control of his emotions, it means he can't handle yours. It also means he'll tell you you should or should not feel a certain way. Doesn't that sound strange when you hear it from me? When some other person attempts to tell you that you should not feel all of this, from what he said, he may even say, like, and I'm talking boyfriend material now, like the idiot that he is, he may say, oh, well, sticks and stones break my bones, but words don't hurt me, and assume you should be like him. And those are the same men that will also believe in equality. Equality as long as it serves their ass. Why? Because men like this, who see women and men equal, they want to have the right to be sensitive to what hurts them, but you need to get over yours because it's trivial as far as they're concerned. There's a humongous distortion that way. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unravel. Before we look at the women today, and I did the last two lives, if you want, go check it out. The last Tuesday and the last Sunday, there were kick-ass lives. They dealt with why men leak power and the women that attract those type of men. The two really connect with one another, but they would never know it. So I thought I'd take it a step further, and I would talk about the fathers, but I just have to give the women that are in their masculine energy, you'll know you are if you want to blame right away. To try to just understand they didn't know. It doesn't mean you can't feel a sort of way. You can. But the only reason you would feel anger and all these other things is if you are empty of your own value of what you have in your life now, of who you are. And the sad thing is that masculine energy women usually are disconnected from the value of exactly who they are. Because who they are has to do with what they can do. And that's when it becomes a problem. When a woman associates herself with her bank statement, what she's built, how much she can do to a man, she might as well be sitting in death row as far as her soul is concerned. It's a slow and painful depletion of energy, of light. And your body, because as a woman, you are estrogen based. That's another thing weak men can't relate to. They won't accept that you have actually a way of being related to your body that makes you a certain way. Because you see, and it's not that we're not responsible for it. We are, but first we have to understand that misery is not an option for a woman. It's just not, because guess what? You'll get sick. It's really that simple. Your body will be in a state of dis-ease. I just want to make sure you can hear me. See if we can get rid of this. I guess not. I don't know why it's still there. That's okay. Because a woman is 68% estrogen based in her body, that is a feeling hormone. And it means she processes everybody's feelings all day long. So at the end of the day, she doesn't know hers from the neighbor or the person she dealt with or the other person that was a story dumper. And he's like, yeah, but I want to get this out of me. Yeah, but you want to dump it on me and I don't want to. But why? But I thought we were friends. So now you have to be his fucking babysitter. I am going to call out things as they are on my channel. If it's hard for you to listen, it's okay. You don't need to be here. I want to give this insight to those that are ready to make a move, a power move. You can't make a power move when you have many fragmented pieces because you don't even know where your power switch is. I dealt a lot with how men leak power in the other vid that I did. And then I really hit home with how women leak their light. Again, neither was a blame game, but it was necessary to know what's going on. Now, we can't move ahead until we go to the root of the situation. For those who don't know who I am, I'm not just a random woman, although if I was and I wanted to give you my 2 cents, that's also cool, right? I'm able to do what it is I need to do. And you can be here or not be here. But in actuality, and for those of you that want a lot more input and a lot more insight as to what it is that I do, you can feel free to visit. I have a TikTok channel that is very blessed to do very well. All right, I'm just trying to see where the lighting is the best. I have a TikTok channel and it's at I Love Heyoka. It's almost at 155K. A lot of vids, a lot of information over there. You can check it. I've started to now focus on my YouTube channel and give you fresh vids here that will enable you to, I'm just trying to find the best lighting here. It's a little bit dismal. I don't know why this isn't any brighter than it is, and I don't want to touch it now that I'm on. But I might have to actually do this outside next time. But I'm a Heyoka empath. A lot of people, when they have a discussion with me, and I bring up things, oh, and I'm so going to bring it up here. I might even actually do a vid on this. And I bring up things that nobody's brought up to them. And the first thing they'll say is, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. The Heyoka empath, or just, a person that's very gifted, can read energies between people. So they know what a person wants to say that can't communicate it. And they can see two people acting out a scenario, and they can see what actually the hidden dark spots that are motivating each to do it. So they're each a puppet in each other's show, but he's attacking her, she's attacking him. They don't really know where the starting point is. What I do is I put a spotlight on the starting point. And you'll always know when someone puts a spotlight on a starting point, because you won't be angry anymore. Because the truth is light. It's very light in feeling. You feel happy. You feel light. So in the case with men and women today, especially since there's such a heavy role reversal, I'd like to dive into why. We know that it's society, and we know there's people running the show on top. Not in that way. But I'd like to be able to help the women identify from the type of father that is disempowering them and doesn't know it, and the type of father that is empowering a woman, and she'll totally know it, but she might not know it's from him. Let's go. The first thing you need to understand is how a man shows weakness is when he can't control his own container, his own body, via his emotions. You see, a man is created in a way where he's situated in logic, where it can compartmentalize pain, which means it doesn't blow up in his face. And we're not talking something severe, right? But we're talking annoyances and things and people saying one thing and whatever. When a man that's a real man has an issue, he doesn't let it dictate his whole day. He decides when and how to deal with his issue, because he sees his issue outside of himself, not a part of who he is. And so the problem with a weak man, he can be an athlete, he can be a fireman, he can be any macho business, but the thing is that's not who he is. You will always know a man that is weak, because a man that has power, why is that? Hold on, I'm just trying to see here. 1 second. A man who has power, okay. Feel free to write any questions, and I will get to them just after I've talked about everything. A man who has power has nothing to prove. He doesn't have anything to prove. He is not intimidated by a woman. He's not intimidated. He is at a weakness in his knees, perhaps by her beauty, that which he finds that sucks him in. But the femme guy is used to being the feminine energy. So he is used to being the seductive one. Therefore, he will attract a woman that's more logical and really misses the emotional talk. Why is this so dark? Oh my God, hold on. Can you see me? I'm just trying to, I don't know what's going on. There's no sun out. Wow, I don't know. Is this better? Maybe this is better. Let's see if we can move this into another room. I I don't know why it's so dark. You will always, it's just really dark outside. A little bit better. Or, no. Or, I don't know. A little bit better. You will always know when you are around a masculine man because you feel heart, mind, soul safe. Your heart is not on guard. Now you may have a masculine man and he may say to you, sorry, I'm just definitely, can we do it right here? Maybe we can do it right here. Let's see. Oh, lighting seems to be okay right here. Hold on. You may, I look forward to having a studio. Okay, there we go. That's nice. You may, at some point of time, be confronted with a man, and as soon as all the things he's doing for you, the one thing he says, not frightens, makes you unsettled, makes you anxious in your nervous system, I'm letting you know right now that that man has things he's holding over you. Because a man who is in his power, whatever it is that he's doing, whoever he is, when a man is in his true power, a woman always feels safe with him, at ease. She doesn't feel here. She feels in her whole body completely at ease with a real man. Now, there are weak men and there are strong men. The strong men don't shout. The strong men don't make you feel inferior. The strong men don't compare you to them and their things. The strong man doesn't put fear into you. That's key. Because the weak man will put fear into you and disguise it under the umbrella of I care, but I care doesn't look like that. I care doesn't mean you must feel the burden of how I care. That's so fucking distorted. And I'm going to have you because I am worried about you. I need you now to be worried. Because a weak man does not have anything to insert into his daughter or a woman that makes her feel grounded. Because he's not grounded. He's dominated by his emotions. He's not grounded at all. So when in terms of dealing with a father, God bless all of them, they're all trying. But you need to understand that when a father, and all fathers will worry as his daughter grows up and goes outside and with who, that's understandable. But when a father has a need to put his worry into your soul and continue to tell you how much he worries, and for all these reasons, oh, it's the country's this, oh, you don't listen to the news, oh, girls are getting attacked everywhere. Can you even imagine what that does to a girl? How is that helpful? Let me explain this very, very thoroughly. When a woman is excited, a little girl is excited to go out in life, yes, she needs to be aware, keyword aware. To be petrified, to be paranoid, to be afraid, guess what happens to her energy? It shrinks, it's restricted, it shows in her walk. Guess what predators look for? And don't take my word for it. You can Google search what a predator looks for. He looks for women who are shrinking in their posture, in their stance, in their energy, in their outlook. Yes, of course, if you're looking only at your phone and you're walking or you're looking at the city, people can tell you're a tourist or whatever. But that is very different to instill that much pain of fear in a girl that she needs to always be careful. Now, I understand if you're living in the ghetto, but even and especially there, as a man, do something about it. Get her out of the ghetto. As a man, your power lies in your two hands and your brain. Get her out of a bad area. Nothing is permanent if you keep moving towards your goal. If you can't right now, then you reinstill in her your faith that A, she's always divinely protected, and B, be aware. Be aware in your walk, be aware how you talk and who you talk, and it doesn't matter how nice a man is. There's no need to talk to a stranger. There's no need to engage. There's no need to do this and that. But the difference that I really need to stress here is when there is a powerful man, he inserts the power in his girl and his woman. He reinserts. Yes, maybe there might be defense classes. I personally would not like to get into that. I would like to own my energy, be very confident when I'm outside. Know I'm always protected. The thing is, when you know you're protected and when you're very driven, if that person is a sports person, if that person is a girl with a vision, with something, and she's moving in her life and she feels very valued, she's not going to attract a lot of that. Those things help when you are outside and you do Taekwondo, I think that's what it's called, judo and all those things. Those things help if you are in a state of your life and in an area of your life where you're not with a lot of people. Yes. And by all means, if that's what the girl wants to learn, that's okay. What I'm saying to you energetically is that your energy, and it sounds really foo-foo like, it really does, but your stance, how you walk, is what a predator looks at. Are the steps small? Are you kind of shifting your eyes everywhere because you're expected for something to happen? It's not about, are you aware and do you hear something and it's going off? There's bells. It's more, there are people around, people are very busy, but you are very centered on how you feel. So here's the thing about a woman. When she's not trained to numb down her feelings because she has a dad who continually tells her, I'm worried about you. What do you think she's expecting? She's expecting something to happen. And she'll have a nightmare. And it'll happen to the strongest of women. Because where a woman feels okay in the world and what she's doing and her value, she's not thinking of things, and her insight and her body is not naturally going to take her into an alley, is not naturally going to take her into this cab versus the other one. She's going to be guided according to her energy. So if her energy is strong and high, it's almost like there's a shield around her. If her energy is fractured and or she doesn't feel of value, then her energy would lead her into other places where other things could happen. And again, if you just got here and you want to ask me any questions, this is going to be all about daughters and fathers and weak men and strong men. Let me just get a little bit to drink. As a Heyoka empath, and you don't really need to know who that is and what it is, and you could look it up if you'd like. I am very fortunate to be able to shed light on things that most people don't want to talk about. They like to just sum it up in a different way. And what a Heyoka empath is a mirror. So what we do, and why we have such a, at times, drastic reaction with people, is because we mirror to them what is really going on with them. And a lot of people have very sharp reactions, but it's okay. We will still do what we need to do. Now, could you say it's an opinion? You could, but an opinion is of the mind and it doesn't really trigger someone in the heart. But when you say something that affects another person, it means that it is, and yes, it could be cruel. It could be done on purpose. When someone knows that you have a weakness, they could say that to you. And that usually happens between so-called fam, when it's not real fam. And I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of vids on those. But here, I just want to isolate one thing. There is a very strong divider between weak and strong men. But what most people don't understand is the weakness of the men are costing us. It's making our bodies sick. Because a weakness of a man means he's dominated by his feelings, not his logic. If he's dominated by a distorted energy, where even though we're both masculine and feminine, when a man is ruled by his feminine energy, but he does not have a vagina, it means it's going to be distorted in him. And you'll say, oh no, but it's good that my feelings are, I'm not just straight logical. I have feelings. Yeah, but the only problem is the feelings are after, like, just for you. You're insensitive to a woman's feelings. And they will have to be. Because when a man is ruled by feminine energy, and feminine energy is ruled by her feelings, and a woman on an off day decides to have a weakness, he will just dismiss it. Because push comes to shove and he has a weakness that same day, he won't be able to be there for her. He will tell her to just get over it. And you shouldn't be this sensitive. The words "you shouldn't," how people overlook this is beyond me. No one in their right mind, if they are in their right mind, can tell another person that they should not be something that they're feeling. It's insane to me. And yet everybody just listens and they accept it because they are in a distorted energy. So they are lured from one fog to another. You see, when you're anchored in your energy, it threatens a lot of people. They'll say things like, I can't figure you out, which is short form for, you don't really fit in the category of most women that I've met where I can act superior to and therefore it disrupts me. Or they could say something like, oh, well, you're holier than thou. And you may say, well, how am I demonstrating that I'm holier than thou? What have I said? Oh, it's not the way you say anything. It's how you are. Oh, how am I? They won't have an answer. Oh, it's just that you think you're how? Because if your energy is grounded in who you are, you're not like a willow tree that just goes in the wind. You can't get persuaded and manipulated by people. Weak men get very triggered with people. Let me just put my hair up one second. Weak men get very triggered, but not by everybody, mostly by women, because wow, so much to say. A weak man has to have his feelings come first. which by default puts a woman in her mind and forces her to numb her feelings because he's upset over them. Think about that for a second. What man gets upset over a woman having feelings about something unless he can't handle the weight of her feelings because he's got so much unresolved feelings within himself, because that's what's going on. So these type of men don't know how to inspire. What they do consciously or subconsciously is get you codependent on them. How does someone do that? They have to make you feel lesser. They have to make you feel needy, and they have to make you feel fearful. Fearful of what? Fearful of everything in life. You could have been good all this time in your life and you just met them as an adult person, and now they're like, you got to call me when you get there, call me when you get there, or text me, because you're a woman and you're this or you're that. That's a man who puts it in his head, fake concern, so that he feels like he's contributing something, but he's contributing nothing. Because a man who really contributes something takes action. He may say, text me when you get there, babe, okay? Have a great time. He may be there just to make sure you're there safely, but he will not put on you the guilt of his worry business and try to make you come on board to his story. Again, if there's anyone that wants to leave me a question, please feel free to, I'm just making sure my chat is, I'm seeing it in the right way. Okay. When there are men, especially evolved in countries, and that's almost all of them today, that are evolved in wars, and it's not just the wars of another country, a lot of truth is coming out, so it becomes the wars about those trying to minimize our life. Vaccinations that are poisonous, what they're doing to the water, what they're doing to the air, things like that. So there's wars everywhere. But the people who are aware of what's been done to the collective in the media, with chemicals, with this and with that, they are so aware that they already have so many people against them in their nature, calling them conspiracy and this and that, but everything seems to play out as all the conspiracy theorists already said 5 years ago, and people are just overlooking that. But the people who have had to stay silent, because the majority of people did not understand or see, mostly because they're funneled into one set of news that is fake or toxic or whatever, those things and those fathers who see their countries that are fueled with religious wars, control, and things like that, what do they trap inside them but the energy of war, and therefore the energy of scarcity, and therefore the energy of I have to win, and therefore the energy of if you don't win, you die type of thing. So that whole thing is poison, again, through my Heyoka lens as a person who reads energies of what's happening in the collective. You don't empower a woman. You empower a woman by making her know for sure that her feelings are cherished with you. You don't minimize it. You don't dismiss it. You don't say later, she wants to tell you about something fabulous. You can't have enough of it. That puts a woman on top of her throne. And when a woman is on top of her throne, she commands life in a certain way. People respond to her energy in a certain way. It was very interesting. When I was leaving the premises yesterday, I was doing a vid, the one that's going viral now, on fathers who weaken and fathers who disempower versus empowering their daughter. It went very well. I really felt that I would get a lot of attacks from fathers or whatever, but it just seems like all their daughters were confirming what I said was true. So when that happened, I was actually doing it, the take of it, inside a gym, and there was a guy there. And he was looking straight, but I was vocal. I didn't hold back. It was in an elevator. It was me and him. And I just did that. I said, because when you're a weak father, you'll do this, and this is how we feel. And when you empower us, this is how we feel. This guy was on alert of, and it wasn't that I was an angry bitch on wheels. I was just very adamant. And this person just became the perfect gentleman. Like, he couldn't do enough for me. He jumped out of the way so I could walk out of the elevator. I said, great, hi, bye, have a great day. He ran ahead of me to make sure that he would unlock the first front door of the complex. And then he ran to the second door, and he made sure he'd hold it open and I could take my time going out. And I marveled at it. I marveled at it because I can tell that he was responding to my energy. It was not a guy that was attracted to me. It was a whole different age range. It was a guy who responded to the commanding attention of my own energy, aka presence, because I was standing up for what we feel, which is not really talked about. Pause. Those daughters who were raised by an emotional, volatile, screaming, this is what a femme guy looks like. He can look very macho, but he's not calm. He can look very serious, but he's hypersensitive. He can look like a man, but when you're in pain, he doesn't register it. It's dismissed according to what he's watching worldwide. And that comparison to you as a daughter, heavy, because you will not stop. You will never feel that what you do or who you are is enough. You will see a man with a connection to a lot of work, of which you'll be exhausted, because as soon as you have a man on the scene, you have to pay back for it. That's how you see it. You will throw yourself motivation, pain-driven, inspiration, heart-led. You will throw yourself motivation, pain-inspired, pain-driven, into a career, something. And what will be driving you is in the back of your mind to show your dad is the blanket of life. I'm telling you right now, girls, your dad is the energetic blanket of life. So when it does not cover you when you're small, you will not feel like you are covered in life. Life will feel unsafe. Life will feel harsh. Life, you'll convince yourself, and then you'll attract other people who convince you that this is just, life is hard, life is inflation. What about all the women that bypass that have a great life, that have an amazing man, has amazing family, that has wealth. They didn't go on a spaceship and leave planet Earth while COVID hit and this hit and this hit. They were here. So how is it that they get a great life and you get one idiot after another, racking your brains at what you're not doing right? Because you're in right, wrong world, 3D world. You see things in black or white, right and wrong. So when a man does leave, you would never think of asking your brain, how does this serve me that he's left right now? What are all the good that's going to come out of this situation for me because he left right now? You ask dumb shit like, how could he do this to me? Well, here's 101 reasons why you deserve shit to happen to you. What did I do wrong? Well, the brain will also flood you with 101, maybe this time 201 of all the things that you could have done better. And it's funny because I have over 3,000 clients that I've amassed, blissfully so, since I started my TikTok channel now almost 3 years ago. And even my women that are in a distorted masculine energy, they all run the same way. And if you'd like to know what those are, there are layers to your information. Yes, Sherry's a client of mine. She's also part of the Heyoka Empath. If you'd like a 4-day trial, that's where I give you insights daily into your voice notes. She knows my work very, very well. And for those that would like to discuss all these things, we're having a class this Saturday at 2 p.m. and then September 6th and September 20th at 2 p.m. ET. If you'd like to get in there, it's 33. The last time it's going to be 33 for the month. Let me know and I will get you in there. Go to my Instagram, Nicole Coleman with a K _ and just send me a message, or go to store.nicolecoleman.com. Check out my store, a lot of freebies there, and you can contact me there. If you need me to contact me here, just write me a message and I'll give it to you while you have a pen. There's a lot of layers to what I'm saying. It's not just one thing. You as a woman, when the father's blanket is either ripped from you or you never get it, the world, how it responds, your experiences, and your men are that same blanket. Torn, cold, thin, or none. And you won't be able to see clearly that this guy's a dick, that this situation in your work is wrong. You'll see it'll hit you once it's very severe, but you'll still, like my client, my women that come back to me, once they're aware of how much they're in their masculine energy, they will say to me, and it crushes me every time, but it's a typical response. They will say, well, if I wasn't in my masculine energy, then I wouldn't have caused him by default to go more in his feminine energy because I'm trying to control everything, because I'm dominated by my mind logic, which makes me have to try to foresee everything. But that's just the thing with the mind. It never sees around the corner. Your energy can feel around the corner what's coming. That's a very interesting way to have life. I know a lot of you have not experienced it yet, but if you stick around, you will. It is never a fault of anybody. Feminine energy doesn't fault herself. That's why she doesn't should herself. Should. Oh, I should have, and I should have. She could have, and she could have, but she didn't. She had this reason why she couldn't or wouldn't. There's no blame when you're in your right energy. You're in present energy. Present energy is creation energy. You're not in a distorted masculine energy because it is the opposite sex of your birth sex, of your birth body. So when you function from your birth body, Do you think you're going to get the golden life? Do you think when you plug a light into, I don't know, an outlet for a phone, that it even can get in there? Or a different voltage where it explodes? A lot of that has happened with all of you. There is no right or wrong when you're dealing with feminine energy, because present energy is creation energy, not miscreating with her mind because she's in a distorted energy. And when you are ruled by your logic, trying to see what's around the corner because you don't feel life backs you up, there are no synchronicities. You're not shown a kind life. Life is not responding to you magically. I have to share this, and if it doesn't do anything, you can leave right now. I remember one time where I was somewhere and it was not comfortable for me. And I remembered I went out on the patio, and I didn't even like the area. This was one of the countries that I was in. The whole thing, yeah. But I was there. I had to take a place for short term. It was the only thing available, and I took it. And there were very toxic neighbors and people around and all that. And so I went outside and I went to the patio where I don't normally go. And when I did that, it was really nice, first of all, to be out in the beautiful air. That was the first thing. So I was out in the beautiful air. Hold on. I was out in the beautiful air. Just a little bit noisy here. So I was out in the beautiful air, and the strangest thing happened. So I had something to eat. And after I had something to eat, I left the patio, which you can see through the bedroom. Okay, so you can see through the bedroom. I just need to get a drink. You could see through the bedroom, the patio. And what happens, and this is right after, oh my God, the lighting's so much better here. Let me see if I can sit here for a bit. It makes sure if we're not like getting rid of any battery. You can see that the table had a little bird on it that just landed there right after I finished eating there. Okay. So a little bird goes there, and then it goes up on my windowsill because it's all like tall glass, one of those like big apartments, right? And there's a very thin windowsill. But the weirdest thing, it's not that the bird pecked at the window or jumped into the window trying to get into the master bedroom where I was. It just was it felt so intimate, like it was just trying to get close. Okay, maybe I just saw it this way. So I decided after it flew away, because it went on the table, then went on the chair, then went on the floor, and then went close to me, looked at me, and then it was like it looked, and then it went to the side. The feeling was amazing. Okay, so I went out there and I put some bread. I put some bread on the table. I put some bread on the chair, and then I put some bread on the floor. And then the next day, as I was in front of my desk with the client, and we were having an amazing, amazing time, that bird comes back, and I'm like, oh my God, it came for the bread. And I saw it hop on the table, and then I saw it had hopped right on the windowsill again, very, very close. And as soon as it moved and left and flew and I finished my client, I went back out there and I said, oh, let me see if it ate my bread. I got to put more bread there. I'm sure it came for the bread, but it didn't come for the bread. It didn't eat any of the bread. So what is it doing? What is it doing? It was puzzling to me. And it was a beautiful day. And I remember I went out of the complex and I went down the street around, and I went into a store where I had to get more clothes. And so I walked into the store, but this is like one of those plazas that, has a lot of different stores, and it was hot. Everybody's having their door open. They don't want to just have AC. And I go in there and I pick a few stores, and that bird flies in the store. What is that? The same bird. And yes, maybe it's the same kind, but do you understand when that happens the same day and you are feeling kind of a certain way, you're feeling maybe isolated, you're in an area you don't like, there's people that are toxic, it's rubbing your energy in the wrong way, and you have such an intimate experience like this. And then you go way down the street into around the corner into a store, and that same type of bird or the same bird freaks out the owner because like, oh, a bird flew in here. And I looked and I went, oh my God, it's the same bird. I cannot tell you how nothing could touch me. Nothing could touch me after that. And there were a lot of things to be pissed about at that point. Nothing could touch me. I kept going back to seeing how nurtured life was letting me know that I am. And if you know, you know. This is to someone who never has any of these things ever happen. It's going to look like someone is just making up something. But for those who've had a lot of experiences happen like this, it was just such a confirmation. So I'm not remembering why I went off on this topic, but when a woman is set up on her own in life and she is used to pushing, grinding, she doesn't know what's pushing her. She needs to be a success. It goes beyond the need of having to make money. What is that need? It's having to say to her father, do you love me now? Look what I did. Look what I did. Will you hold me now? Look what I did in the world. You need to understand that mature adult is a little girl. We can call her fractured. We can call her not whole, wounded, schmounded, whatever. That's not important. What's important is nobody's seeing the driving force. And that is precisely why her masculine, her father, never sparked safely, covering her with a blanket, her feminine energy for her to feel safe in the world and have these things happen. So she knows she'll always be caught. It's really difficult when your own family goes against you or your own friends go against you, or let's say you're in a job where everybody hates you. It's very difficult to be on your own, not have a friend to call, and be so snug in the world because it reinforces your value. Your father was meant to reinforce value and to connect you to your value. The masculine, we each have masculine and feminine energy. So when you are born, if you're a woman, a little girl, your masculine energy will kiss and wake up your feminine energy, and she will just rise. But when that doesn't happen and your dad's not around, or he's stern, or he's PTSD, LMNOP, and all those other abbreviations that they use to mention fathers who were at war. It's a real thing, but again, I'll take that down, tear it apart another time. Sometimes fathers can even have a sugar imbalance. And when they have that sugar imbalance, then they don't eat frequently and they come home at the end of the day and they're just mad. People don't know the reason. That's the reason. So these type of women that have had a weak father that did not provide the blanket, the warmth, the security, and the knowing of life's always going to catch you, they are the women that grind. They are the women that grind at the expense of their heart, their health, their love. So what that means is that it's not that those type of women won't make money. Oh, they're very pain driven. They will make money, but it'll be at the expense of their love life. because they are in the energy of, for every gain, there must be a loss. I make business, therefore I don't have a good love life. I make a lot of money, so something else has to be fucked up. It's a setup in their mind, and this is how masculine energy women in a distorted masculine work. It is love equals sacrifice. This is the reason they don't answer when something doesn't feel right. First of all, they don't know how to name it, what it is that they see. It's almost like their heart is like very little lifeline left, where it's just indicating to them, this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, but it's not like boom, 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 because you've shut off. You drink antidepressants, fluoride toothpaste, which calcifies the pineal gland, which gets you an inside connection, a lot of stuff. Or you're around people that tell you, oh, and this is the latest one. Oh, when you're around a femme guy and you get hurt by what he says, he'll call you childish. Be an adult. Oh, so what is an adult? Doesn't feel things? Yeah, in their mind. Why? Because femme guys see women and men are the same. Equality, remember? But bananas and apples are not the same. We don't even have the same fucking physiology, you idiot. We're not dry inside. We're wet. That's what gets us going. Our feelings are our mojo. Our feelings are our engines, not our dry logic. But these men will want a woman capable, dry logic, not too emotional. That's way too much work. They don't have it in them to give. So the weak father will not embrace the little girlness, that she is safe and protected, so that when she awakens into a woman, her masculine energy, which is not worn as an armor outside for protection, that was induced by the father energy being sensitive too much and putting fear into her. So she has to be caked in armor. And what the fuck does that tank with a summer dress attract? A leader? Fuck no, she'll go head to head. Leaders don't pick tanks. They pick gentle petals that smell fragrant, that enliven their senses, that are soft, that give them a sense of vitality. The men that pick a woman for psychological reasons, that have a great brain so that they can knot life together, it's not a masculine. It's not that a masculine doesn't want a woman that's intelligent. Of course he does, but that's not the emphasis. The emphasis is her nurturing, which comes through her beauty. It just does. Because a real masculine falls in love with what he sees first. It's not like, I see a beautiful woman, she's an idiot, and she's on crack, therefore I'm in love with her. No, he has his instincts and the rest of his body that goes through a process. But initially, a man falls in love with what he sees first. That's what takes him to the door. And what we fall in love with first is auditory. It's words. Words said to us in the right way, in the right tone, at the right time, in the right order, will lead to open sesame with most women. They won't care if they're exclusive. They won't care if he's already said, I don't want anyone else, and has already taken upon himself to show very clearly that it's only her. So the sacrificial woman is a woman who's never had a blanket. So here's the biggest danger, and I have taken it upon myself to, We have a power class going on, and as I mentioned, it's going to be on the 6th and 20th. For those that want, message me privately. That's $33 for the month. And then I've also developed what I call an internal fortress. These are for the businesswomen, or if you have 5 friends, who really want to go one-on-one with me. And that is 45 ahead. Minimum 5 ladies. You have no idea how powerful this will be when you are doing this and conducting this for business. And I'll tell you why. The women who work underneath you have their shit going on in their personal life, which they won't share because it's a place of work. When we all work, we all have to have our balls on the table, but that's just the thing. When we do not leave our balls at work and we take it home to our guy, last we checked was a masculine energy, it will force him into his feminine energy just to keep the peace. Because in love, only opposite energies attract. So if you're same sex, you won't come home in the same sex energy. You'll be opposite. What happens that women don't understand is that because they're going home in the giving energy, sacrificial energy, discipline, responsible, obligation energy, is that it will overspill into the relationship dynamic. When it does that, he will plan less and less. You will be annoyed more and more. You will do things that you don't even want him to do because you don't believe that he'll go and do it, which reinforces to him that you'll just pick up after his shit all the time and makes him more lazy. He doesn't have the initiative anymore because you also snatched his balls. So his language now will change and your language will change. You'll ask him how he feels. Think about that for a second because this makes me vomit. You'll ask a man as if you're his fucking mother and he's 4. How do you feel about this for dinner? Or how do you feel about us going out to dinner? Because you're the masculine bitch now. Because you took his balls. Because that's what a man does. He checks with his woman's feelings to make sure she has complete serenity with your decision as a man. So she actually has the last say. He has the first say. Babe, I want to go here. How does that feel for you? Are you in the mood for that? She'll go, yes. Or, I actually feel like that. Or for those women that have worked very extensively with me, you don't have to ask. Because when you're connected to a man a certain way, I will teach you how to implant a suggestion in his mind. I'll never forget when this happened. So I was about 20 and I had a boyfriend who was 31. And he always decided where to go. But this time when he wanted Italian, I'm not into pasta. So we were walking along the beach and he says, I think, why don't we go to have pasta tonight? He was asking. I looked at him, I smiled, and then I kept walking with him. And all I did was think about the type of fish, which is sea bass for me, that I love when it's fried with squid and whatever, lemon, garlic on the grill, where it's so tender, the meat with butter, and then some few vegetables. And I was smelling the potatoes. They were roasted with butter and the roasted tomatoes and the asparagus that was semi-soft, crisp. And it was just like a very high-end restaurant. And then I was thinking about that dessert in that restaurant as well. And he stops. As we're walking, he just stops. And he says, I I think I want seafood instead. How do you feel about seafood? I'm like, I'm down for seafood. Yeah, that would be perfect. If you all were around me when this happened and it was like a movie, you would not believe it. If you knew what I was doing, you would think he came to it himself. And, because I'm very good at that, I don't tell my man what to do. I inspire it in other ways. So if I'm in the mood for green mint ice cream, and I remember I was with another guy, and he was coming to pick me up, and we were going to go somewhere for the day, and it was midday, and I really wanted this, and I was busy cleaning up my house, and I didn't have, any time to do anything but just get ready. And he knocks on the door, and I open the door, and he's like, babe, and he shows me a whole pint, a big one, of my favorite chocolate mint ice cream, which is not his favorite. He says, I don't know why I brought this. But do you want, I'm like, babe, and he goes, you didn't. You did that thing, that you did that thing. I'm like, baby, why didn't you just text me? Because I was busy. Baby. And he's like, I should have known better. Now, sometimes you can just go on your way. And when you get this well read with energy, reading and seeing, and this can only happen to you if you are completely authentic in your own energy. You know what that means? It means you have to be very truthful with people, neutrally so, not with blame, and not storing it up like a cannon. You're not going, oh, he said that, I couldn't respond because I didn't even know how mad he made me because I couldn't even communicate it. Why? Because women who live in their head have lost their connection. You lost the tunnel where it's all on a fucking blackboard. He just dismissed you. He just made you feel invisible. He just made you feel unimportant. You don't know. You don't read. You can't feel. Fuck all. So because you can't name it, it loses its power and its urgency. When you get authentic and you do these kind of things, it's so much fun. Because I was remembering I was coming out of the airport and someone was picking me up. And I felt like flowers. I just felt like flowers. And even though this person was busy and it's not how they usually, show up like that, especially they were going through a lot. As soon as I see this person, the flowers. Could it be that I picked up that that's what he had already? Or could it be that I thought of it and it went into their head and planted a suggestion? And I say this for this very reason. I'll prove it to you. How many times have you been very busy, not thinking of someone, and then all of a sudden, someone pops in your mind, and then ding, and then it's them. They text you. You were just thinking of them. What was that? That was them first thinking to call you because they want to ask if you want to go to a movie or something. The second that they thought to call you, this is someone you're close to, you already received it. And then what happened? They proceeded to text you. And then what happened? You received the text. So you see, it's already existing in your life. You don't have the reins on this buck, on this stallion, because in order for you to be in charge of this force, you'd have to be pure in your energy. And here's what that means. Yes, it means don't just go and undermine someone. And a lot of people need to do that. Don't, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but a lot of insights are coming. So I want to give you as much as possible. and it seems like a really tight, intimate crowd, so I want to give it to you. You will always be able to, and you won't be able to Google search or read about this somewhere else, although I have 3 books. Supernatural Badass is the one I'm writing right now. That's going to explode in your world. I have a book out on Amazon called The Wisdom of the Penis. And yep, that's the title. All about the role reversals of today. And that's a very unusual book. I love that I had a professor from Nova Scotia, an English lit and lawyer professor, ask me if they can use the book as an assignment for the kids, because again, as I mentioned in the last live, they thought I had a very unusual writing style, and I didn't know what the hell they meant because I wrote it in slang, but they meant that because I'm a Heyoka empath, I don't write a book with words that you can understand and just cram in more knowledge here. That does not shift your energy. I write in insight language. I don't speak to your ears. I speak to your pain points. I speak to the origins of where your pain is inserted so it gets loosened and extracted. It's insight. It's not possible to the naked eye. But I'm a mirror by birth. That's what a Heyoka empath is, which means 2 things. I will see the dark spots inside you and light you up if you're ready for it. I walk by many people, and I usually give it to those that I deal with, and it's always warm, emotional. Nobody says, oh, I don't want you to know. No, it's always warm and emotional and very thankful, and I feel very valued. Then I see other people that are toxic as fuck, and I say nothing. But it's very clear to me. It would save you many years if you had the clarity that I have. And it's not that you need many years to learn it either. So as a Heyoka empath, I am a mirror that sees people's dark spots. And then I put a light on it so you can see. The toxic people don't want to see. And I will only speak what I see when they attempt to destabilize my energy. I will say what I see, and then they will go off. But the second thing that a Hayoka empath does is that we disrupt negative energy. So when people are around us, good luck seems to happen. Money comes, opportunity comes. I love it when I have a client and the next day she's like, I was at Starbucks and everyone was staring at me, even the women. And this dog came and sat right underneath my feet. I'm like, hello. And it's the reason that happens is because if you are with me and we're looking at you guys call it blocks or resistances in your life. I call it dark spots inside you that you can't see. It's running you. But when I put a light on it, that you can't see it from the naked eye because it's an insight, it doesn't have power over you. The first thing is recognition. Then it will hit you, like all these things that you remember that it caused, and then it will disintegrate. But there's a lot to learn here. So, oh, I think I lost that insight that I had. Wait a minute. I went off there. If anyone can remind me what I was about to say, that would be good. The women that are in a distorted masculine energy cannot say how they feel because they're holding in so much pain that when they say a simple how they feel, they think it displays all their pain. So it seems misplaced, which it is, and they would be overly emotional, which according to the average person would seem that way. But they are, for the first time, releasing a lot of archives of pain. And that's why a lot of you will see something beautiful. A puppy, maybe a bird in a bird bath, maybe just the ocean. And it will be so beautiful that you'll cry. Because beauty breaks you open. Because you've lost temporarily access to the pain breaking you open. Because when your heart is numb, again, antidepressants, fluoride, mercury, chemtrails, mostly being with someone, and you can use all these labels, who gaslights you, does all these things. But again, I don't like to use labels because it doesn't really help us analyze what is going on. When you use a word like they gaslit me or whatever it is that you say that they did, you are empowering a title. And you just put yourself in a victim energy. Why is that lethal? Well, when someone hurts you, you're a victim. You feel bad. And so when you feel bad, you are also, let me just see something. You are also in a position, let me just see something. One second. When you feel bad, you feel guilty. Nope. Okay. One second. There we go. When you feel guilty, that is an issue, because when you feel bad, especially when it's someone else's fault, you will feel guilty, like something's wrong with you. And guilt has only one job, and those that have been with me know what that is. Guilt, what does it do? Guilt seeks punishment. In every part of your life, guilt seeks punishment. So you cannot have a successful business without self-inflicting yourself or sabotaging another aspect of your life to gain that money, because in your mind, for every gain, there's a loss, and sacrifice equals love. So do you see? Something has to give. You will not, one second. You will not see it in another way. When you are in your feminine energy, you're not subjected to, first of all, an avalanche of pain from different timelines. See, that's a thing that a lot of you don't understand, is when you are stored up in a distorted energy, you are a collector of pain from different timelines, but as if it is right now, feeling the weight of it. That's why you can't speak up for a little pain that doesn't seem like a big deal when all this is huge. First of all, it would just release an avalanche of shit, and you have an avalanche of fury. And secondly, you're not in the state of mind where you are, just checking, you're not in a state of mind where you are creating the life, which is present energy. You are miscreating with your mind, which is scarcity and fearful energy. Do you see the difference? Only when you are in present energy and you can accept the grace of having a beautiful life, do these other attachments of I need to pull it down. Like, when you go into your boss's room at this point to ask for your raise and they're pissed off, this is going to get you fucked up, but you do it. You know that when an ex calls you out of the blue and you're with someone really amazing, but you don't want to tell him, you figure you'll keep it under, but that somehow it's going to get to him, and you know these things, but you can't help yourself. You do it. And now I remember what I wanted to tell you. Let me just go back there. Watch people's words. Oh, this is golden. This is fucking golden. Watch people's words. Weak people, distorted people. So either women who are in their masculine mind and they're very ego-based, ego-led, will be very vindictive, very envious, will want a destiny swap. They don't know why you get all you get. They don't get what they get. That's them. They do not have a lot of friends, or they have all friends like them. The feminine guy, who is a man, will accuse you of everything that he is. Okay, one moment. Are you there? Hello? Hello? 1 second. Okay. What? Could we do it this way? Okay, let's try to do it this way. Okay, give us a different ambiance. The feminine guy, he will always accuse you of what you are. Every single time. Oh, thank God you guys are here. Oh, thank God you guys are here. Thank God you guys are here. Hold on. There's a bit of a swamp here. Hello? 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 Wow. Oh, wow. What? How do I do this? Yeah, I've been waiting out here. Okay, where are you? Right here. What? Oh, okay. Here you go. Oh, that was almost a catch. Okay. Okay, thank God we handled that. Now, let's get back to you. This is just too fucking important. Thank you for the hearts. My feet are all so, I just stepped in a swamp. I almost lost you in the basement there, but okay. Especially toxic family members, especially men, when they say things like, you are being childish, it means you are not fitting into a category of which they can be and feel superior. You are acting out of range. And who is the real child here? They are. Oh, be an adult. Who's the one that's not an adult? They are, because they can't handle you as you are. Pay attention to the words people use when they accuse you. Fucking gold. And step back and think, they're telling me I'm this, but that's really how they are. That's why. Because a person can never recognize an energy that is not already familiar in themselves, but they're in a distortion. So if you want some private time and you say to yourself, yeah, I'd like to do some space on my own, and he says you're being selfish, he will recognize the space as a self-centered thing you need to do, but in his distorted mind, it's selfish. Because in truth, that's what they're doing. Do you see that? Do you see that? Let me start answering some questions, okay? This has been great. This has been great. Oh, yeah, we have a little bit of time. Let me answer some questions, okay? Oh, wow. Sherry, you went to town here. Let me just see if I've got this on. Okay, wait. So let me go here. I'm still trying to learn how to use the filter. Okay. So if a guy, oh, Sherry, let me start from the top. There are layers. Yes. I could cry. Hold on, I'm reading it. I'm reading your comments. I just have to give someone their slippers back. Sorry. I could cry as I'm listening to you. Oh, that means so much to me. That means so much to me. But it's tears that break through illusions. Yes. I'm so proud of you, Sherry. Sherry has gone through a lot, elevated each time. That means so much to me. I wish I could circle in a big heart. If your dad chases after your mom to comfort her after you share a trauma and he comforts her instead of you, that, oh, wow. That's okay. Wow, that's really gross. What that is, that's a man, let's go deeper and not just give it a label. That's a man who really needs her approval, needs the strength that she exudes in the relationship, and or if it's money, and or if he's weakened physically and he's dependent on her. That's not a masculine for sure, because he can't risk showing her what she may have done with you is incorrect, and to at least align it and have a discussion. If he was in his masculine, he would have embraced you. He would have then gone to her and asked what happened. And then he would have given his opinion. But if he can't even do that, then I have to say more or less yes. She was upset over what happened to me, and he ran after her. Well, what I need to know what happened. Can you not go into detail, but I need to know better. So if a guy treats you harshly, like a guy, and oh, you mean rough, and is sensitive to men over you, is that a femme guy in him? That's a little bit confusing for me. Can you give me an example? If a guy treats you harsh like a guy, you mean farts in front of you? Do you mean puts you down like a guy, teases you, and then is sensitive to men over you? What does sensitive mean? He cries, or territorial? But it definitely seems like it's one of the two like that. Let me just see here. All right. We're good. Here's what I want to just discuss really fast, since you were talking about the masculine women here and the fathers. When you are when you are at work and you have a need to push and to grind, and in your mind it takes time for money to happen. If you were in your Empress energy and then you go to work, your money comes fast, and it doesn't come with a grind. Your money comes because you're entitled to have it that easy. That's why I also set up a power class business section, 5 women or more, part of your business or friends, so that they have that inner fortress. Because the women who are in business whose major issue is at home, it's going to be because they're already, if they're purely in their masculine launching a business and they don't know how to unplug and go into the sensuality of their feminine energy to take it home to their men, then what will happen is they'll take home to their men their sacrificial energy and be sacrificial in the relationship, their demanding energy, the controlling energy, their criticizing energy, overly responsible energy, just take a lot of weight for a woman. So what I do in these classes is I centralize on the biggest problem in their personal life and get that rectified. Why? Because when a woman has her man giving to her and it's back in order, and she feels entitled to receive, doing nothing to prove herself, guess what happens when she goes back in business? She feels entitled to receive. So she does her work, but more calls come in, but more leads come in, but the sales are easy because she's detached in the way that she just knows her gold because of how she's been treated at home and or dating. So for those of you that are entrepreneur women, career women, business women, and you have an issue, especially with your business, it could be making more, or it's costing you too much in your relationship or your health, then something's out of whack there. It's out of balance. In the business power table, I make sure that each 5 of those women, we deal with what the major issue without putting it on display as if this is your issue, this is your issue. I just get all the issues up front. And then we deal with them and change the internal shift so that those women, and it's tough, it's not easy because you're used to being in control of work and sacrifice and grinding, and you don't know how to unplug from that, then your man's like your secretary or like a boy, another children adding on to your farm of children. But the other way, the women get that handled, get used to being in their proper energy in the relationship. So when they come to their business and they're in their masculine energy, it's inspired driven, not pain driven, motivated. I have to make, grind, life is hard, things are hard. That's huge. So for those that want more info on that, go to my Instagram, Nicole with an H, KOLMAN _ and DM me Power Table. And or if you'd like to go to our class this weekend. All right, so I think if no one has any more questions, harsh words and actions. Expect you to be strong. Cries when he has a guy friend whose health is in a crisis, but at least when I was in a health crisis, is that okay? So you didn't finish your thought. First of all, a guy who's harsh in his actions and expects you to be strong tells me you picked a weak guy, Sherry, because you're used to being that way. So it's not him, it's you. That's the first thing, okay? Your energy's there. You're picking these flowers that don't have a scent, but they're like a cactus, so it's hard for you to even hold it. They're harsh. And yet, yeah, a huge tail sign of femme guys is that they're very sensitive to each other, because like 2 girlfriends. But you're a woman, but you represent a male energy, not as sensitive to you in a male energy. That's pure criminal in this world now and today, which is why I'm speaking about it. over and over and over again from all different angles, friends, lovers, family. So I'm going to be doing more and more about it. You're more than welcome, sweetheart. I'm glad you dominated the whole chat thing. You deserve it, sweetheart. All right, so I'm going to let everybody go. And for those that like the insight of what I spoke to today, it was taken out of the excerpts of my recent book called The Sacred and Feral Trilogy. You can get it at store.nicolecoleman.com. I believe it's in the description. There's also a couple of pages there that you can look at just to see how deep and how it resonates with you, the insights that I give you. All these vids that I do are taken out of those type of books, because this book, The Sacred and Feral Trilogy, is like an open map. You cannot change that which you don't see, that you can't put your finger on. So the first thing I do is I describe many scenarios, and we make it very, very funny, and it's very, very descriptive. Many scenarios where you're going to, first of all, laugh, because you're like, shit, that's exactly what's going on. But somehow I'm going to strip it of its severity, and you're going to see it in its truest light. And that's going to help you get collapse time and move forward, and you're done. You cannot change things without first seeing in them. And that's why therapy doesn't work in my book, because you cannot receive a solution in the energy that's created the problem. And you are asked to talk about what the problem is. So you go back into the energy of the problem. You cannot find a solution there. You can find tools. You can do that. They will give you all kinds of tools to keep using tools. And what that makes you attract, like any mechanic, broken cars. So now you're set up to attract projects, not partnerships, as a woman. And again, what's really important for you as a woman to do is not so much to get stuck on a label, though I know it helps, because if there is a label, it should take you to a place of empowerment. A femme guy is a person who's ruled by his feelings in a distorted way, not more sensitive to you, less sensitive to other people, and more sensitive to his frail ass. So he will be dismissive. He will be calculative. He will be self-centered. And he'll only be with you as long as he can get something. Because these men don't fall in love. They fall in need of you. So when those needs stop and you're milked dry, they leave. They can't pin you. They can't make things work this way. That's what happens. Wow, I am crying. Oh, sweetheart. That's a good one. You're welcome, baby. You're welcome. More and more. And that will be good. So if there's any questions, just before I tune out right now, for those that were hesitant to ask, if you feel more comfortable, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm always happy with whoever is pulled to this. I had a man ask me an interesting question. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Well, yeah, I'm very well. It's just that you were very emotional and this." I said, "Yeah, I am a Heyoka empath. I feel your shit. I don't mean I feel it in my brain. Oh, she has a lot of problems, Sherry, right now, or this, or Gloria, whoever's here. It means I'm in your body experiencing this turmoil. So it's almost like I'm the inside of you going, get off your butt, get the fuck out of the door. You can't, just do not put yourself through more. Do you know why you do? Let me explain it to you this way, and then I'll let you go. Oh, let's make sure we have battery, because that would be really bad if it conked out last minute when I'm giving you so much gold, this last thing. Because you're going to think about this. Oh, okay, so let me put it very succinctly to you. You've made this such a pleasure for me to share with you. Oh, thank you. A woman, oops. Okay. A woman who's in her masculine distortion, right? What'll happen with her is she lives in her logic. Okay, that's her brain. Now, when she lives in her logic, and it's a distorted logic, and I'll prove to you it's distorted, because when it's obvious he fucked up on you, you didn't walk. What did your logic do then? It worked like a two-way blade and sliced your heart. How? It asked you, and it said to you, oh, you know, this is just number 13. It's not really a big deal if you compare it to this and the kids in Africa and this and that. And you're not going to just quit, are you? As if it's a race and you've got blisters on your heel. This is pain inside you that is slowly forming your body to be in a constant state of dis-ease, which, like it sounds, is a disease eventually. It shows up as chronic fatigue, as fibromyalgia, as thyroid issues, as arthritic things, all kinds. For those that want to know more about the exact blueprint of your negative ongoing subconscious thoughts that make that happen, book a one-on-one with me. When a woman is locked in her mind, and you'll know you are because you can't stop yourself from thinking and worrying. You're not attached to the eagerness of everything that can happen in life. You're scared of what happened in the past, and you use that to fuel and freeze the future, which means you're living in two worlds, in the past and the future, skipping the present. So you are a ghost right now. You're not even really here. If you were here, you would be able to create and expect it to happen. But you're miscreating. You're miscreating because you're in a distorted energy. So when you're in your mind and you're in your logic, it's a distortion. So it runs out of fear and what ifs. Okay. So what rules your mind that does battle, that's supposed to protect you from fear, your mind becomes like a soldier. And what does a soldier need? A battle all the time, an argument, a life shit, a struggle. It needs a battle. Here's the kicker when you're in a relationship and it's really negative, on and on and on. Why don't you walk when you know you can walk? Why don't you walk? I'll tell you the real reason. What does a soldier need to prove his worth? That he can handle pain. How much pain can he handle? So it's like a soldier when he's fighting on the front grounds and he gets shot in his hand, he doesn't drop the gun. He doesn't drop the gun. He keeps fighting. He keeps moving. So now he gets shot in the hand, in his left knee, and now it's a little bit more wobbly, and he still moves forward, and he still goes to show how much he can endure. And then what happens when it's the hand and the knee, and then there's so much blood coming out of his eyes because he's got a bunch of neck bullets. Then the gun drops and he surrenders. At that point, when you're half dead spiritually, your body tired as fuck, you look like hell. He looks much better. He sucked all your light. Of course, you gave it to him. Then you walk. You walk when you say something like, I have nothing more to give. And I need you to burn that, because that is how you got into this, by overgiving. Intended to do so to prove that you were of value, because you are disconnected from the value of who you are without doing a fuck all thing. Now, when people come to me one-on-one, we dismantle this in a very fun, insightful way, because I have the ability to go into your past lives, not to let you know who you screwed and what celebrity you were or whatever, but to make you understand, and it will be very accurate, what is clinging to you in this lifetime that could only have access to you if you're in a distorted energy. Because if you're a woman and you're in a male energy, you'll be, it's almost like you're sucked into a portal of a different timeline, all the other timelines of male energy, that is past life. And even if you were a woman in past life, when you are not in your present energy, like a baby that doesn't have a memory, that just goes, wow, and I just can't wait to play and taste and touch and all these things, you are in a place that is distorted. When your nervous system is distorted at night, because you have people who watch TV late or whatever, or you're upset, your nervous system is fragmented, and that is your gold as to what attracts money. Because when your nervous system is not chilling, not happy, not safe, it blocks abundance, because abundance is safety, it's love, it's clarity, it's peace. You don't have peace, money doesn't fly. If money flies in there, it's going to be burdensome, because it's going to be attached to a fucking anchor, and you're going to be carrying it everywhere, because that's a sacrifice you believe you're making. Everything ties into everything. But when you are with me, booked in a session, and I go to your past life, I'm able to see and know right away, without you talking about it, the landmines that you're stepping into now and why. I know that you know it, but we're not going to categorize it like the shrinks do. We're going to go to the root and pluck it the fuck out. Because as soon as you hear an insight, it's not data where it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know. No, it's more like your reaction will be like, and then you're looking in your mind, all this makes sense, because everything's opening. The energies that we're holding, pain, shame, guilt, and blame inside, are just opening. So insight's like it's like a spiritual key. That's what it's like. Okay, I'm going to let you go. I know I gave you a lot to think of, but this will be posted. And again, if you want to work with me, just say, work, I need you, work with me. If you'd like the 4-day gift of being part of the Heyoka voice notes for free with us and my Forbidden Collective group, just put down gift. If you'd like to be part of the Power Class Biz, you have 5 people, just write DM Biz for me once we post this, or message me on my Instagram, or here, store.nicolecoleman.com. Bye, everybody. I'm going to go live, God willing, everything's good, and there's no tornadoes or anything. We just have a bit of a swamp outside the door here. We will be going live Sunday at 1. And I don't know what I'm going to centralize. I think what I want to do is, I want to talk about the people, whether it's family or men, or I could be a woman who says, I'm doing all this because I care. It's laced in care, but it's poison with a care label, because everything, that's not how care looks like. I'm going to fucking strip it down. So if you have somebody that's, they care because they drill it into your head that they care, but they also diss you at the same time, do this, do that. It's just that their care is very expensive, comes at the cost of your heart, I'm ripping that to shreds. Bye for now.